Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Halos in the Infield weekly roundup podcast. I am one of your hosts, Chase, and this is...
Hey, this is Andrew. I'm also a host. I'm host number two.
Yeah,
So
we've been doing this a few weeks, and we still don't have the intro down. But let's just shoot over to the headlines. A Padres player hits for the third cycle in team history. An all-star pitcher has signed a 2-year extension, and a White Sox fan favorite has announced his retirement. All right, so to start us off, we have Jake Cronenworth for the Padres with the first cycle of his career. He hit it versus the Nats. What do you think?
I think that's really exciting. I've been following the Padres as one of my teams for a long time, and this is their third cycle in team history. They've all happened within the last 6 years. First two being Matt Kemp, and the second being Will Myers. So this is always big news for the Padres fans. I'm sure they're really excited. And it also happened in a game where they scored 24 runs. So it's a good time for the Padres fans over there.
Yeah, good stuff. And how about Jake Cronenworth? His first couple of years have been very good.
Yeah, a lot of people don't say that you can steal a trade away from the Rays, but that trade's looking really good for the Padres.
Yeah, and who did they trade away?
So they got Tommy Pham and they got Jake Cronenworth in a trade for Hunter Renfroe, and I'm blanking on the second name right now. 1 second.
Yeah, Hunter Renfroe. He's a pretty good outfielder, but I don't think he's quite worth Tommy Pham and Jake Cronenworth.
No, definitely not. That trade has not worked out well for the Rays at all. Hunter Renfroe, I think, hit like 180 for them. So just was a total bust, and now he's tearing it up for the Red Sox.
Yeah, he's had a real good turnaround year.
Yep. So not only did they bring bring Hunter Renfroe into the division, but he's actually performing well against them. So it's a double hitter for them.
Yeah, so great stuff from Jake Cronenworth. Next up, we have another thing from that series, and it was a shooting outside Nats Park. It's a little unfortunate to report on, but outside the third base gate on Saturday's game, they had a shooting that injured 3, and the fans fled out through the center field and right field gates, as well as you had some people coming from the stands into the dugouts. It was a crazy scene, and if you want to see any of that, look it up on YouTube. It's really interesting to see how people reacted in that kind of situation.
Yeah, watching the footage was really eerie. Just seeing all the fans just kind of flood out towards the outfield exits. Just hearing the announcer come on the PA system and ordering people not to leave the stadium because it wasn't safe. There were, I think we talked about there's 3 people that were injured in the shooting, and that's a travesty if anyone's injured in a shooting. So I'm just glad that it wasn't a lot more damage. We've seen a lot of bad shootings in the past.
Yep. Yeah, and I don't know if you saw it, but like there was a camera in like the center field concourse where you could just see a bunch of people running out of the stadium. Yeah,
I mean, you hear about concerts and things like that where someone like yells fire. Like it could have been bad. It could have been stampeding.
Yep. Yeah, and it was just so hard to get info early on in the situation. Like I was just watching Twitter for a good hour, and just slowly differing reports came in from different people, and it was just all conflicting evidence, and it was like just confusing.
Yeah, I was actually watching the game live, and right before it went to commercial, you could just hear like the sounds of the gunshots, but it sounded like fireworks were going off in the background.
Yeah,
and you can kind of see people start to react, and then it cut to commercial, and then when it came back, that's when they started talking about everything that was going on. When you're watching it live, it's just really eerie. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to move on from that. And next up, we have Lance Lynn. He has signed a 2-year extension with the White Sox for $18.5 million per year, with a club option for $18 million for 2024, with a $1 million buyout.
Yeah, what a steal for the White Sox. This guy is maybe the best pitcher in the American League right now. He's a 1.99 ERA. For the last 3 years, he's been averaging about 7 wins above replacement per 162 games. The guy's just a stud. Anytime you can get a pitcher like that for under $20 million and for 2 years of more control, you got to do it.
Yeah, and his stuff will play for a while. He's a bigger guy, but he'll just dart you up. And he doesn't throw super hard. He doesn't throw anything super nasty, but he just gets guys out.
Yeah, doesn't he kind of remind you of like what the bad guy would look like in like a baseball movie in the 90s. like the big beefy star that would just like yeah.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Bartolo Colon.
Yeah, he does, right? Yeah. I guess Bartolo Colon played for the White Sox, so he wouldn't be the White Sox version of him.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there how many teams did Bartolo Colon play for?
I think at this point it has to be all of them, and probably even
why
teams,
not all of them?
Yeah, did he play for the Expos too? So even teams that don't
Played
even
for like
exist.
12 teams.
I know. I mean, that's what happens when you play for like 20 years. So
I think it's a shorter list to say who he hasn't played for.
yeah, I know that he hasn't played against the Padres. He hit that home run off of them. So
yeah, he was an enigma.
yeah, very interesting guy. A lot of
Yeah.
a lot of interesting off-field stuff that we can save for another episode. We should almost do like a full like just breakdown of Bartolo Colon.
A Bartolo Colon career breakdown.
Yeah,
That might be in the works. We might be able to make that happen.
yeah. Look for it in the off season.
All right, so next up, we kind of have to do a self-plug here. So we are doing a trade deadline show. So on the 30th, which is the same day as something that we're going to talk about here very shortly, on the 30th is trade deadline, not the 31st. We already figured this out last time. I put it up
Sorry,
in post.
guys.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
That
But
was me.
30th, we'll be breaking down all the trades as they come in. We'll be doing it for a couple, maybe a few hours. And just come and hang out, chat with us. Well, it's a live stream, so we'll be reacting to all your messages and everything. So come and hang out, and we'll have a good time. All right. So back to the show. So the Olympics are here, and baseball is a part of the Olympics this year, and that's very good news because we have some former major leaguers playing. Who do you got?
Yeah, so there's 6 teams that are in the Olympics. First off, we're going to start off with the Israel team. So you got some prominent former Major League Baseball players, Ian Kinsler and Danny Valencia.
Ian Kinsler, Angels legend.
Oh, I know. Yeah, there's a guy that performed up to expectations, right?
Definitely.
So, let's hope he can do better for the Olympic team, We don't want to see anyone bring down their home country. But, Danny Valencia, he's been carrying the Israel team. He actually led the tournament that got him qualified in home runs and RBIs.
Wow.
And then going second, we have the Dominican Republic team, which has former Major League Baseball players and Jose Bautista and Melky Cabrera, and actually top prospect Julio Rodriguez, number 3 prospect in baseball for the Mariners.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. That'll be fun to see.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting to see how he does. And then you got the Mexican Olympic team. They got Adrian Gonzalez on the team and Matthew Clark. And then they're also led by Efren Navarro, who's their star player and basically just drove them through their tournament to get them qualified.
Isn't he like super old now?
Yeah, he's really, really old.
A lot of these players are quite old, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, Adrian Gonzalez, I think, is like 41 now. So
We haven't heard his name in a while.
I know. Dodger legend, Adrian Gonzalez. I guess Met legend, right? For the half season.
Oh, yeah.
And then for the U.S. baseball team, we have 3 Major League Baseball players that are leading that team, and Todd Frazier, Scott Kazmir, and Edwin Jackson. Mm-hmm. The Korean baseball team, they actually do things a little differently. So they don't have a lot of Major League stars on their team. But what they do is they suspend the season in the middle, and they let any of their players from the league can go represent their home country. So
that's really good stuff.
Yeah, their entire team is actually made up of all-stars.
Wow.
From the KBO. So their team's just stacked.
Yeah, screw the All-Star break. Let's just go play in the Olympics every 4 years.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it? See like Tatis, let Ohtani go play for Japan. Just see who the real best teams are.
Yeah, get on it, Rob Manfred.
I know. I think that would be great for baseball. Wouldn't be great for their pocketbooks, I think. That's why they don't do it. Yeah,
and Todd Frazier, he's really taken the reins over at the USA team.
Yeah, I think he's their de facto team captain on this. He's a 40 home run guy for the major leagues. He very recently was performing at a high level at Major League Baseball. I'm sure he's going to be one of the driving forces for that team.
Yeah, he's not called the Todd Father for nothing.
No, and then I love that nickname. Sorry, that's great.
Yeah.
Then the Japanese baseball team, they are led by Masahiro Tanaka.
Oh.
So, I mean, everyone knows him from his Yankees days. He's gone over to Japan. He's just been tearing up the league again as a pitcher. I think right now he has a 2.96 ERA for them. Wow. So he's going to be their ace. Japan also doesn't like Korea, so they suspend the season in the middle, and everyone can go and play. So they have a bunch of their all-stars playing.
Man, they're doing it right.
Yeah, and when you look at like the betting odds, it's Japan and Korea are the 2 favorites.
That does not surprise me because they
Yeah.
have their actual guys, like their guys.
Yeah. Can you imagine it would be like the Team USA if we had for basketball, if we had the baseball players?
Yeah. Team USA for basketball got beat by Australia, I think, a couple times already.
Yeah, right. And I think the Nigerian basketball team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're having a little rough about it, but I don't know. Maybe they can bounce back. Maybe they can't. But I want to say about the USA baseball team, I've looked at that roster up and down, and I don't know 90% of those guys.
It looks like if you had like a Rule 5, like a expansion team draft, and you had to like go select a bunch of players from like people that were protected. That's the roster you'd get. That looks like the 1997 Devil Rays.
Yeah. And speaking of expansion draft, shout out to the Seattle Kraken. Krakens, however you want to say it. The hockey team, they had their expansion draft today. Pretty cool stuff. I would really love to see that in the MLB.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see them expand out some more. I think that all we're going to see is Oakland Athletics lose their team. So,
yeah, that's another big thing. I didn't write it down in my notes, but Oakland is pretty much going to move, right?
yeah, that's the gist that I got, especially with Rob Manfred's comments on it, where he was talking about how disappointed he was in the city council having a vote without any input from the Oakland Athletics. So that looks like it's an open and shut case.
Yeah, well, we'll see what the future holds for the A's. I kind of hope they stay as the A's because that team name just has so much history behind it. But we pretty much all know where they're going, right?
Yeah. I think there's a couple options, right?
Is there?
Yeah, because I've heard Las Vegas, I've heard Sacramento.
Hell no, not going to happen.
I've heard San Jose.
San Jose, I could see, but I mean, California doesn't need this many teams.
No,
they really don't.
I can see them leaving. And the A's, they were the Kansas City Athletics a long time ago. Then they're the Philadelphia Athletics. There's no reason they couldn't be the Nashville Athletics.
Yeah. And before the Angels signed their deal to stay in Anaheim, I was really hoping that they would move to Vegas so that they could change their name to the Sin City Angels. I think that would be extremely good.
Oh, man, that would be the best marketing. I would have a shirt that says the Sin City Angels for sure.
Yeah. And the marketing out there is so good. We've seen it with the Vegas Golden Knights, another hockey team, how that city just latched onto that team and held it as their own because they were just vying for a sports team for so long.
I know, and all the gambling threats were so big for so long,
Yeah.
That's crazy how like everyone just has that like mafia like idea of like Scorsese's casino just in the back of their head. Like, we can't have a team in Vegas. We're gonna be throwing all the games.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything else on the Olympic teams?
No, just go Team USA. I hope we beat the crap out of Japan and Korea on this.
Yep. And Team USA plays their first game on the 30th versus Israel at 3 a.m.
So you Nighthawks, you 6 people out there that'll be awake at that time.
Yeah. All of the Olympics are going to be quite funky on the times, to say the least.
Yeah, and that's the hard part. 'Cause I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there like me where if I know the score, then my interest in actually watching the game greatly diminishes. Like I have a really hard time watching, even replays from my favorite teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know they lost 7-2. I don't really want to sit 3 hours and watch it.
Yeah, there's no reason to. But yeah, the Olympics back, what was that, 2016? Didn't they do those in North Korea?
Wait, in North Korea? I don't think so.
They did it in Korea. I don't know if it was North or South.
I think it was Seoul
Okay.
Korea.
Yeah, I was like,
that'd be impressive.
That would be quite interesting.
That'd be a lot of news. It'd be
Wrong Korea, my bad.
Slave camps making those mistakes.
But yeah, the time difference wasn't as bad for those Olympics, was it?
No, I don't think so. I think when you look at like you would think so because Japan's closer to Korea, right? So
I'm not a geography major.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine a globe in my head, people, right now, if you're watching the video. I'm not a geography major either.
All right. We'll move on from the geography talk.
There could be someone that comments like, "You guys are idiots. You don't know where Korea is."
That's perfectly valid. Perfectly valid. All right, so moving on, we have Alex Verdugo. He got hit by a baseball in the Yankees versus Red Sox series. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that's a really interesting situation and how that like evolved, because the first thing that we hear is we just see everyone sees the footage of Alex Verdugo just freaking out in left field. He just got hit by a baseball. It's a very scary situation. You know, if someone throws a baseball hard enough, you can actually injure someone if you hit them in the head. Just having a fan throw something and hit you when you're not expecting it has to be very terrifying for him. So I can see why he reacted like that. But as the situation evolved and the internet found out, people started basically headhunting for this guy. You know, Yankees fans wanted to find out who he was, make sure that he could be banned for life. But as fan reports started coming out, we found out that this was a guy who was being heckled by all the drunk surrounding people in left field, and they're basically saying throw it back for a long time until he finally gave in and throws it, and then inadvertently hits Alex Verdugo, and now he's banned from all baseball games for life.
Yeah, that reminds me a lot like the situation that happened in Boston in a series versus the Yankees when that guy got one on the Green Monster when Stanton hit it, and he threw it and he hit Stanton rounding the bases.
Yeah, yep. And I get why they do it. You know, that's an insta ban right there. But
yeah,
I couldn't imagine how that guy was feeling. Like, you don't want to throw the ball back. You're excited. You got it. You finally give in to the crowd, and you throw it, and then you hit the guy, and then everyone's looking at you like, oh, you messed up.
Yeah. See, that's one of those things where it's like, I don't think you should get banned. At most, just throw him out of the stadium so he doesn't do it again in that game. But like, if he comes back and he's learned his lesson by then. If he gets thrown out of game, he's learned his lesson.
Yeah, and especially like if we don't know who the guy is, just say you ban the guy and then take him off the side and say, look, we're not going to call you out, but like.
Yeah, exactly.
You better be on the best material.
Just slap him on the wrist, right?
Yeah.
All right, so next up we have Shohei Ohtani. He donated all of his home run derby earnings to the Angels baseball staff.
Yeah. You know, he earned $150,000 for that home run derby, and he took that entirely, and I think handed it out to about 20 people. Mm-hmm. So, you know, all these people after taxes are getting like a $5,000 or $6,000 check.
Yeah.
And they're not earning that much money. I mean, they're probably being paid pretty well, but for a lot of people that, you know, that's a down payment for a car. That could be a down payment towards a house. That's rent for multiple months for people. Mm-hmm. Just a really generous thing for him to do, and to give it to people that were within the organization. It's just, you know, shout out to Ohtani. That's my favorite story of the week.
Yeah. And it just goes to show how nice of a guy he is.
Yeah. Because he's still basically, I mean, I know he just had that extension, but he's not one of the highest paid players in the league. Mm-hmm. This is just, you know, for him, this is a lot more money than it would be for like someone like Alex Rodriguez or Manny Machado or any of the highest paid players of all time to do. Mm-hmm. It's a, you know, a much bigger piece of his cake.
Oh yeah, but you got to think he makes so much on endorsements. Every player nowadays makes so much on endorsements.
Yeah, and I heard they're putting his face on pretty much everything in Japan. So we have no idea. Like, he could be making $20-30 million a year and be looking at $150,000. It's like, yeah, I made that last, you know, Thursday.
It doesn't surprise me, man. All right, so to finish us off on this show, we have Yermin Mercedes. He announced his retirement on Instagram earlier today. I don't know if you've read it. I'll put the post up right here. But he said a lot there, and the thing that stuck out to me mostly is him apologizing to other players in the league and to his staff and to the reporters and stuff like that. What do you think of the situation in general?
Yeah, it seemed like he was alluding to some stuff that maybe didn't make the news, some off the field issues that we didn't know about. Mm-hmm. But he kind of fell off a cliff after having such a hot start. Mm-hmm. I know he had like a 400 OPS for, I think, the last like 30 games that he played. But he also started off the year going, I think, 8 for 8. Mm-hmm. So, which as a rookie, I think was the record. That's an incredibly impressive feat. So we know the guy can perform at the major league level. Very surprising. I hope that, with a lot of the mental health issues that have been going on the last couple of years, especially with COVID, that's not the issue. Mm-hmm. And I just wish him the best in whatever he chooses.
Yeah, and Yermin Mercedes, he had that incident with Tony La Russa earlier on in the year for showboating, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was the unspoken rules, right? Where he hit the late inning home run. And he kind of fell off a cliff after that.
Yeah, I feel like it might have been something internal, but from what I've heard, it wasn't. So,
yeah, I mean, that's kind of what you'd expect an organization to say.
Yeah.
You're not trying to have, show that the threads are coming unraveled in an organization.
Yep.
We know that there's already been a lot of issues with Tony La Russa with that roster. It was a very perplexing move when he was hired. But I mean, I don't know. That's a very interesting situation for a guy who just comes up, tears up the league, has one bout of struggling, and then just retires.
Yeah, and there's many things that go into somebody retiring. It could just be a personal matter. It could be as simple as that. But we wish the best for Yermin Mercedes to whatever he chooses to do in his future. Hopefully he's made a good bit of money up here in the majors. So we wish him well.
Yeah, good luck, man.
Yeah, and that'll finish us off for the show today. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to leave us a review, leave us comments, like the video, do anything you can to interact with the video, pretty much all that good stuff. And thank you again. Andrew, got anything else?
Thanks, guys. Very interesting week. We had a lot of stuff we had to cut out. It was a pretty wild week, actually, when we look back at it. So
yeah, we originally thought we had nothing to go off for this week, but then we were just like, wait a minute, we have too much.
Yeah, we have pages of this, actually.
Yep, so that'll do it. We'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.